Have you ever wondered if the people around you simply don't understand anything? Perhaps you've seen certain ladies exhibit actions that make you wonder about their decisions, thinking, or outlook on life. But here's the thing. Recognizing these indicators is about protecting your personal peace, avoiding needless NEAR turmoil, and making wiser decisions regarding relationships. It's not only about assigning blame. Believe me. Welcome to Stoic Monarch, where we examine how Stoic philosophy can empower us to make wiser decisions and lead a life of purpose. In today's video, we're going to delve deeply into understanding certain behaviors that can be harmful to your peace of mind and your relationships. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer perspective that could change the way you approach your love life forever. These 6 indicators may indicate some unwise relationship practices that could have an impact on your mental health. Before we get started, please make sure you subscribe to the channel for clarity. Press the alert bell. Let's start by aiming for 1,000 likes on this video. Imagine meeting someone in a completely unfamiliar social setting. Everything seems to be fine while you're with her, but little things start to pile up, and you begin to doubt her apparent intelligence. By intelligence, I don't mean academic intelligence, but rather the highly regarded Stoic qualities of knowledge, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence. According to renowned Stoic philosopher Seneca, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. This implies that our current choices, particularly those we surround ourselves with, may determine our future because she thrives on drama. Have you ever been on a crazy emotional roller coaster in a relationship? You wonder why it's so difficult every time you hear someone enjoying causing trouble. Some women, and let's face it, some men, have it worse than it needs to be. They crave disorder and find ways to create it, even when there isn't any. It's as if they can't go about their daily lives without experiencing some form of emotional pain. Then, the next minute, you're in the middle of a fight over something insignificant, like a late text message. Relationships aren't meant to be soap operas. Conversely, a clever woman desires calm rather than chaos because she understands that the burden of power is to be calm and reflect on your own romantic moments rather than to get angry about petty matters. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who was constantly picking fault? She would become upset if you didn't reply to her texts within 5 minutes or accuse you of not caring enough and cause arguments. If you went out with friends, it hurts a little at first, but it gets emotionally draining after a while. Why does this happen? Because drama is a form of attention seeking for some women. If no one is talking, something is wrong with their minds. They're used to chaos, and now they find peace unsettling before you know it. Your eens, snared in a never-ending cycle of broken hearts and broken promises, deceiving yourself into believing that's love. On the other hand, if you find yourself being consumed by her emotional tempests, it's wise to pause and ask yourself, is this really the life I want? As Marcus Aurelius, a wise Stoic, said, the mind, not external circumstances, is within your control. You'll find the power you need once you recognize this. A wise woman understands that love should be a haven, not a battlefield. 2, she can't take responsibility. Let me paint a picture for you. You're in a relationship where everything is going great until it doesn't. Maybe it's a small argument or something more serious like a breakdown in communication, but instead of talking it out rationally, she jumps to conclusions and says, "It's not my fault. You should have been more wise." Ever heard that line before? If you have, you know how frustrating it is to work with someone who will always avoid doing their job. It's always someone else's fault, whether it's their parents, their ex-employer, or even you. But the reality is that if the other person can't take responsibility for their actions, you and your relationship will never get anywhere. We're all imperfect. Everyone makes mistakes. According to Stoicism, what separates the wise from the foolish is the capacity to own errors, evaluate the circumstances, and move forward. True strength comes from knowing oneself. Epicus once stated that we suffer not from the things that happen in our lives, but rather from how we perceive them. The key to living a full life is not avoiding mistakes, but rather figuring out how to handle them. Despite her victim mentality, this gullible woman will not leave her side, no matter how terrible things become, since she believes that someone else is always at fault. Being around this kind of person will result in you being held accountable for things that were never your fault. Have you ever been in a relationship where someone had the audacity to admit when they were mistaken? If so, how did that make you feel unappreciated? This is because having an accountable partner is essential to any successful partnership. Taking responsibility is a strength, not a weakness. 3. She values materialism over character. A strong woman owns up to her mistakes, apologizes, and works to improve for the future. Have you ever been in a relationship where your partner seemed more interested in what you could offer than in getting to know you as a person? It might have seemed nice at first to spoil her, get her presents, and take her on romantic outings. But after the lavish meals and excursions, you start to realize there wasn't much left. This is a difficult road. At first, you may think these are merely excessive expectations, telling yourself that she simply has good taste or deserves fine things. But deep down, you know that no matter how much you give, you're still not good enough. Good's more than honesty and character. When was the last time you were in a relationship when your value was determined solely by your bank account? She will always find something bigger, better, or more expensive to ask for. And the worst part is that she is never content. A sensible lady understands that worldly possessions are less significant than love. She places a higher emphasis on loyalty, emotional ties, and character than on material belongings or lavish vacations. According to the Stoics, prosperity is not found in having many material belongings, but rather in having few desires. And happiness is an inward state that cannot be purchased. Your efforts will be much appreciated if you are with a woman who values integrity over money. 4. She always looks for approval. Now, this is a big one. Did the person you were with always look for approval when you were around? Perhaps you told her that her clothes were lovely, and now she wants another compliment. On the other hand, she frequently posts on social media in the hopes of getting likes and comments. A woman with low self-esteem will never stop seeking affirmation. She's searching for fulfillment elsewhere to meet her own needs, words of encouragement. It may seem charming and appealing at first, but you know deep down that it's exhausting, that she feels like she never gets enough love and attention. She may have claimed that you didn't message her enough, post enough compliments about her online, or do enough to make her feel special. But the truth is that true love doesn't always require approval. Have you ever been in a relationship where you were asked to repeatedly demonstrate your commitment? Do you ever feel like your words are carefully chosen, but still have the wrong impact? It's like you're walking on eggshells, trying to avoid causing an unnecessary emotional reaction. You might offer a simple suggestion like, "Hey, maybe we should try eating healthier." But instead of a thoughtful conversation, you're met with defensiveness, anger, or even resentment. Suddenly, something innocuous turns into a huge confrontation, leaving you wondering where things went wrong for some women. A confident woman doesn't need constant validation. She knows her worth and the love you give her, even if you don't tell her all the time. 5. Even if your intention is only to provide a helpful suggestion, criticism, no matter how constructive or positive, feels like an attack and can cause an immediate and emotional reaction rather than processing the information, reflecting on it, and using it as a chance to grow. The statements might not even be understood correctly, since they are interpreted defensively, as though the critique were an assault to one's dignity. Behavior frequently results from a lack of emotional resilience or a fear of failing inadequacy. When someone cannot handle criticism, they become emotionally reactive and find it difficult to distinguish their identity from the feedback they are receiving. What could initially appear to be a chance for personal development turns into a defensive reaction, which stifles honesty because one partner feels attacked or invalidated every 6 seconds. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you had to tread carefully because you were worried that the other person might become upset about something as simple as, "I had a long day at work," and then it turned into a full-on argument? The act of merely expressing your ideas or thoughts turns into a minefield. Being with someone who is emotionally reactive means that even the tiniest remark might cause a strong emotional reaction. Being emotionally reactive means that she lacks self-control, and rather than stopping to think things through, she acts impulsively, letting her emotions rule her and leading to unexpected and unstable behaviors. Her frequent mood swings can be exhausting, leaving you uncertain of when the next emotional storm will strike. One moment she may be loving and caring, but the next she may be furious or irritated over something trivial. Because the basis of a healthy relationship requires open, calm communication, living with someone who reacts emotionally to everything can create a tense environment. You may feel as though you're constantly adjusting yourself to avoid causing an emotional outburst. It becomes difficult to have honest conversations because every attempt to express yourself could be met with defensiveness or anger. A partnership should be a place where both partners feel safe enough to be vulnerable. But when feelings take precedence over reason, it's difficult to develop that type of trust, and the connection becomes erratic, leaving you unclear of your position. As Marcus Aurelius sagely stated, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. To sum up, emotional stability and self-regulation are essential for sustaining a strong, long-lasting connection. Without them, it's practically impossible to grow together as partners. It's also important to keep in mind that recognizing negative behaviors in others is not about passing judgment, but rather about preserving your own peace and making better decisions for your future. Maintain your composure, exercise wisdom, and make choices according with your Stoic principles. Remember to like and sign up for more transformative thoughts. Continue to aim for improvement. Stoic rulers.